Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the November return to racing for Riptide swim team. We're about 10 minutes out from start time, probably about 5 minutes from the announcements and the national anthem. So if you are watching this recorded, go ahead and fast forward it till you see the American flag pop up on screen, and then we should be about ready to go. So we'll be back with you then. Thanks. right, again, welcome. It is just a few minutes before we're going to start here, about 5 minutes before. The announcements have just started. This is the Riptide Swim Team November 6th intra-squad meet. This is the return to racing. This is our first meet of November. Later on in the month, there is another duel with the St. Croix Swim Club, so stay tuned for that. I believe that's the weekend of the 21st. So we'll let her go through the announcements, and then I believe we will hit the American flag and the national anthem, and then we should be on our way to racing. We'll be right back.
And volunteers. The restroom is a 7-lane pool that's available. Spectators, please use the restroom on the mezzanine level. No cell phones or cameras are allowed behind any starting block. We ask that you remain quiet at the start of each race and flash photography is strictly prohibited at this time. At the end of the sessions, officials, swimmer, coaches, volunteers, and spectators, please exit through the front lobby doors. Your officials for this afternoon meet are referee Teresa Durish, meet starter Aaron Stiers, meet admin Deb Rizzo. We are extremely thankful for all of our support as well as the coaches and parent volunteers. We could not put on this meet without you. Thank you very much. Now please rise, face the flag at the end of the pool while we play our national anthem.
Okay, we are ready to get started. Our first event of the afternoon is the mixed 500 freestyle. There are 4 heats of the 500. In lane number 1 is going to be Samantha Booth. Lane 2 will be Cassidy Taylor. Lane 3 will be Grace Martin. Lane 4, Sydney Sadlick. Lane 5, Molly Pitson. Lane 6 is Kaylin Worth. Lane 7, Mary Roth. And in lane 8 is Emily Snyder.
Lane 5, Molly Pitson. Lane 6, Caitlin. Lane 7, Mary. And lane 8, Emily.
500 free is 20 lengths of the pool. Each kid should have a counter at the other end. And it looks like we've got all but one. Oh. Waiting on one more, and then we can get the race started. Oh, we are missing lane 5. That's why we're missing one. So we're missing Molly Pitson in lane 5. All right, and here they go. Looks like everybody here has swam this except for out in lane 8, Emily Snyder. Well, first time for the 500 was always a fun one. A little nervous, but they get over it because then next comes the mile. And then the 500 doesn't seem so long anymore. And a pretty even group here coming into the first turn. Again, this is 20 lengths or 10 50s. Very even group. We'll let them swim here a little bit. So coming in at the 100, we got lanes 4 and 6. So we got Sydney Sedlak and Kaylin Worth leading the group right now. Everybody else is pretty close behind them. 500, the lead changes can change every 50 if you're not careful. So if you're in the lead, you got to watch what's going on and pace yourself out. Sydney's got a little bit of lead now after the at the 125 on Kaylin. On her left in lane 3 is Grace Martin. Watching the live streams, go ahead and throw your shout outs in the live chat, and I will try to call out as many of your swimmers as you can. A few parents from Riptide in the stands this afternoon. I'd say probably about a dozen. It's COVID right now. You kind of sign up after everybody has all the positions on the deck are filled, so there's usually about 12 spots left, and it's one parent per kid, per swimmer. Got Sydney coming in right now. There's her 250, so she's halfway through. Kaylin now turning out there in lane number 6. And this flip turn, they'll have 8 lengths left to go. They'll have a 200 left. And again, Sydney's got the lead in this heat, followed by Kaylin, followed by Grace Martin in lane 3. Lanes 1 and 2, Samantha and Cassidy are right behind her, as well as lane number 8, Emily Snyder. Again, her first swim in the 500 freestyle. Sydney looks strong. She's coming in. She's got a 7:13.08 coming into this, so she's obviously going to be trying to drop time. Mike Parado, head coach Mike Parado, took all the swimmers aside, and a lot of kids are sore and tired, and it's kind of mid-season for them, and so we're not really ever sure what to expect. But Mike has said, I talked to him a little bit before we started, and he said, these kids got to swim brains out. They've got to remember that sore, tired, whatever else, they need to swim hard and they need to swim fast. Mike is down there on the right-hand side of your screen waving his arm. He's in the blue shirt. Next to him on his right is Amy Parado, his wife, and next to her, sitting down in the dark blue, is Michelle Hopewell. All right, we're getting close to the end of this first heat. And Sydney turns right here. She's going to have 2 lengths left. You'll see the bell go. The lead swimmer in the 500 gets the bell lap, they call it. That means that she's got 2 lengths left. And you'll see her card go orange down there. That means you got 1 more 25 when you do the flip turn. Again, Sydney coming in at 7:13.08. And she is going to drop quite a bit of time here. You can hear Dad in the background. It's always great to have the parents here watching their kids swim. Yeah, she's going to destroy this time. And she's going to come in at 6:35.35. Big drop for her. Next swimmer in will be Kaylin Worth. Her incoming time is 7:36.32. Big smile out of Sydney down there. And Kaylin lost her cap, so she's coming in capless. And she's coming in at a soft touch. She'll be right around 6:52, 6:53, which is, again, a very nice drop for her. So make sure you check, if the kids get a soft touch, make sure you check Meet Mobile. The times there should be official. They're not uploaded until they're official. But on the board up here, they're not considered official. So make sure you check Meet Mobile. This will be under 2020 Minnesota Ripped November, return to racing, or check meets near me. All right, out in lane 8, she had a soft touch. You can see by the dashes. So that 7:30 probably isn't right. She's probably going to be a little bit faster than that. So again, make sure you check Meet Mobile, Mom and Dad, for Emily's time. We're going to go on their easy 50, and then we're going to move on to heat number 2. And in lane number 1 is Ellie Francic. Pardon me, probably Ellie Francic. Lane 2, Aiden Seimer. Lane 3 is Victoria Smith. Lane 4 is Molly Vogan. Lane 5, Leah Cayley. Lane 6, Leah Hadsel. Lane 7, Emma Patterson. And in lane 8 is Lindsay Mello. And I see 1 through 7. I don't see Lindsay over there, so we might be scratching her from this one. Got a way to go, Peach. She had a great swim, even though she lost her cap at some point during the meet, or during that swim. It happens, especially during the 500 and the longer events. You see the caps come off every once in a while. Well, I do not see Lindsay Mello, so I'm just going to take it she's not here. Samantha Booth in lane 1 was coming in at 8:25. She dropped over a minute and 3 seconds. Cassidy Taylor, 7:21.41, down from an 8:08.37. Grace Martin came in with a 7:30. She dropped 20 seconds. Mary over there in lane 7, 7:32.92. She came in with an 8:15.83. Very good swims all across the board. Here we go again with heat number 2. They need to step up. There we go. And we have Ellie in lane 1, Aiden in 2, Victoria in 3, Molly Vogan in 4, Leah in 5, Leah Hadsel in 6, and Emma Patterson in 7. Outside the window you might see, and you might even hear, the lawnmower going. Yes, it's November 6th, and they're mowing the lawn outside the windows. Who would have thought that less than 2 weeks ago we had 10 inches of snow on the ground? All right, at the first 50 out in lane 5, we got Leah Cayley leading the group. Molly Vogan close to coming in right behind her in lane 4. The rest of the pack pretty even in that third position. Got about 15 or 16 people, maybe 18 people watching the live stream. Welcome. My name is Carl Kinseth. I am a part-time coach here. I am also a dad of a couple of the Riptide swimmers, Evan and Claire. And I have taken it upon myself to do these live streams. They're fun to do, and I get to watch my kids swim. So, a little bit self-serving. All right, Leah still out in the lead after the 100. Molly very close behind, right about at her hip. And again, the rest of the group all kind of packed together in that third position. We will have 3 more sessions tomorrow. We've got the 11-12 session, the 10 and under session, and then again in the afternoon, I believe another 4 o'clock start, will be the open session, which is generally the older kids, the senior 1 group, all the way up through Mike Parato's senior elite group. And those are all 3 tomorrow. Coming to the 200, Molly has made up that half a body length, and she is now challenging Leah coming into the 200. Out in lane number 7, Emma Patterson has broken away a little bit from the pack in third place. I'm going to see Emily and Leah, or I'm sorry, not Emily, Molly and Leah, neck and neck at that turn. That's a great turn by Molly. She picked up about a half a body length right there on that turn. Are coming up on the halfway point, and Molly has opened up about a full body length on Leah. Molly looks very strong. Leah looks good. Rest of the pack, again, fighting for that 4th spot. And Emma out there in lane 7 with the solid 3rd spot right now. Now Molly's digging in and starting to pull away. Looking very good, looking very strong. Molly comes into this with a 6:04.94. Holding 36s would get her at about a 6-minute flat, I believe. So we'll see where she's at here when she makes this turn. So 36.4, she is on her way to somewhere around that 6-minute mark, maybe a little bit faster. It'll be close. Molly looks great. She's kicked it in. She's widened her lead. 36.58. So again, with probably what she started out with in her first and second 50. She's got some time to spare there, so she's going to be right around that 6-minute mark. Leah just turned. Leah looks pretty strong still. She's hanging in there in that second position, and Emma out there in the third. That 4th position is highly coveted right now. There's 3 of them, 4 of them keeping together in that pack. And Molly's going to get the bell lap right here. 2 lengths left. Still looks very strong. 36.34. She's brought her time down a little bit, and up comes the last all-out sprint here. So again, Molly Vogan. Dad is Eric Vogan, coach here at Riptide and for Eastview High School. She is incoming to this event at 6:04.94. She is going to drop a little bit of time here. And that's going to be a nice swim. 5:57.45. So she drops a good amount of time, about 8 seconds, 7 or 8 seconds there. We got a battle for second place. Leah's coming in now. She entered this at 6:07. She's going to add a little bit of time. Emma out in lane 7 with a nice swim at 6:12.77. She drops about 30 seconds. And the rest of the pack comes in. Lane 2, Aiden Seimer from a 6:41 down to a 6:24. Ellie in lane 1 from a 6:53 to a 6:29. Leah Hadsel out there in lane 6 down from 6:35 to 6:24. And Victoria in lane number 3 with a 6:23.01. She drops a second and a half down from 6:24. We're going to go on there 50 easy. And then we're going to move on to heat number 3. Looks like we got a full heat for heat number 3. We got Amelia Labno in lane number 1, Tate Dial in lane number 2, Addison Pavick in lane 3, Caroline Mulrooney in 4, Jovan Langseth in 5, Catherine Bonneville in 6, Stella Bouchard in 7, and Abby Nan in lane 8. I think everybody but one in our first 2 heats have dropped time, so let's see if heat number 3 can keep it going. Fastest 500 going into this is Caroline Mulrooney at 5:24.05. A lot of these kids haven't swam this since probably February or March. Some might have swam it in August at one of our other intra-squad meets. Usually the 500, the 1,000, or the mile is something that's swam every other meet, maybe every third meet. So usually, depending on how beat up they are from practice and dryland, they'll drop some time. So leading the pack is Caroline and Jovan there in lane 4 and 5. The rest of the group is close behind. We got Tate out there in lane number 2. She's hanging pretty tight with Caroline and Jovan. Caroline's got a little slight lead over the 2 of them right now. Count out lane number 1. Amelia's down there with Tate. They're hanging tight with Caroline. Caroline's starting to pull away from Jovan a little bit. About a little body length and a half or so now. We got a good little battle down here for first place between Caroline, Tate, and Amelia. They're going to turn all pretty close to the same time here. Caroline and Tate turned exactly the same time. Amelia close behind, probably about a tenth behind. Joven is still hanging in there. He's picked up the pace a little bit. He's made up that body, full body length. He's about right at Caroline's hips right about now. Tate made a little bit of a turn first there. She's got a little bit of a lead. Amelia's hanging tough. Catherine out in lane 6. Stella out in lane 7. Lane 8, Abby Nan again. And lane 3 is Addison Pavick. We got that battle for first place with the outside smoke in lane 1 and 2, and the battle in 4 and 5. So this will be a good one. They got a little bit of a lead now on Amelia. She's fallen back by about a half a body length, but she will hang tight with them as well. Stella makes the turn at 7. Catherine makes the turn in 6. Addison just made her turn there in 3. And Abby Nan is going to make her turn in lane 8. So that was the halfway point for all of them. 250 yards left. Mike is pushing them along. Caroline is pulling up a little bit. She's got half a body length to a body length lead. This one's going to come down to who's got the most grit for the last 100, I think. Caroline's holding about 32s right now. That is about a 5:20 pace. Probably a little bit faster than 5:20. Let's see how this 50 fares. Yep, 32.7, so about 5:20-ish. I'm sure she'll be right about there. Got to go Riptide from Felicia. Felicia always seems to make it onto these streams. Hi, Felicia. All right, Caroline has pulled it out to about a body and a half to 2 body length lead. She is coming up with a 100 left. This is lap number 16, or length number 16. Second place, Joven and Tate. And 32.7 for Caroline, so she's holding tough there. And Caroline coming up on the bell lap. Amelia out there in lane 1. She's fighting hard to catch up to Tate. And there's your bell. One single 50 left to go. 32-33. Caroline came down a little bit on that 50. Joven's picked up the pace. Tate's picked up the pace. And Amelia is going for it. Catherine making her final turn. Out in lane number 6. Stella just a couple of body lengths ahead of her out in lane number 7. Addison just made her final turn. And here comes Caroline. She's about that 5:20 mark. She's going to be about 5:22.99. So she breaks that 5:23 mark. And Joven in with a 5:27. Tate, 5:29.41. Amelia sprints that last 50 and brings it home at 5:29.13. And in comes Addison, lane number 3 at a 5:46.43. And Abby Nan is finishing it up here. And there we go. That is heat number 3 of the 500. A few time drops there. We're going to move on to heat number 4. They're going to do their 50 freestyle, so we'll give them a little bit, and then we'll move on to heat number 4. Got winter champs coming up in December. This is the Winter National Championships, but they put it out for each state to do their own because of COVID reasons. Times were slowed down a little bit so they could get more kids into the meet. So for the 500 short course, the boys cut is 4:39.89. The ladies cut is 5:06.59. fast times there, but sometimes you never know what's going to happen. All right, in our fourth and final heat, this is the fastest heat of the 4. Looks like we are missing a few kids. I've got Anna Olson in 1. I've got Matthew Warwig in 2. I look like I am missing Brady Chisholm and Max Castle. So 3 and 4 will be empty. Lane 5 is Elizabeth Bonneville. Her sister just got done swimming in lane 6, Catherine. So Elizabeth is in 5. Lane 6 is Grayson Marcotte. Lane 7 is Rachel Hutchins. And in lane 8 is Brennan Worth. So again, 3 and 4 will be empty. All right, here we go. First 50 coming in. We've got an early lead out there in lane number 6. That is Grayson Marcotte. Oh, nope, Elizabeth just took him over right there in about 5 yards. So they are head-to-head, the rest of the group hanging in there for 3rd place. Elizabeth also goes by Ebit. She has got a little bit of a lead here at the turn. Coming in on their 100. And number 7 is our youngest in this 500 free, Miss Rachel Hutchins. Entered at a 5:18.34, 14-year-old. Grayson's got a little bit of a lead now. Rachel's hanging off to his left, Elizabeth hanging off to his right. Down there in lane number 2, Matthew is not too far behind them. Neither is lane number 8, which is Brennan Worth. Rachel's making a little bit of a move here out there in lane number 7. She's a tough kid, tough 14-year-old. Never count her out of anything. And Grayson's got a little bit of a lead here now at the turn. They're going to be coming in on their 200 yards. Grayson's opened it up to about a body length right now. And Rachel's moved up to about a half a body length. So Rachel's on that 5:20-ish, maybe a little bit under pace, or under that pace. Grayson, maybe 5:18, 5:17 pace at this point. I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see them go faster. And here they come up to the halfway point. Grayson's opened up his lead a little bit more now. He's got about a body length on Rachel and a body and a half on Ebit. So they make the turn at the halfway point. Brendan out there in lane 8 making his turn. Matthew making his turn at the halfway point. And in lane 1, Anna Olson just making her turn right now. Rachel's brought her splits down a little bit. 31.95. She's gone under the 32 mark there, so she's looking good for the mid 5:15s somewhere. 5:15 to 5:20. Grayson's going to be 5:15-ish, I bet. Turns of 31.06, so he's actually getting a little bit faster as the event goes along. And with 100 left, Grayson turns at 31.18, so he's holding his splits good. Rachel 32.48 and Elizabeth in 5 at a 33.22. Grayson's going to get the bell here in just a second. There's your bell lap. Turning at 30.9, so his time has come down. Rachel turning for her final 50 at 32.53. Ebit turning on her final 50 now at 33.46. Brennan and Matthew both turning on their final 50. We've got Anna Olson coming up here. She's almost on her final lap as well. Grayson's going to go faster than I thought, so that's fantastic. 5:09.95, not bad. A little bit up from his entry time. Rachel in at 5:17.58, so she actually drops a little bit of time. Ebit down there in lane number 5 with a 5:22.67. Brennan Worth 5:22.54, so he adds a couple of seconds. Matthew Warwig 5:22.39, adds a few seconds there. Once these kids are rested, though, they're going to tear it up. Don't you worry. All right, they're going to go into their easy 50, and we're going to move on to the 400 IM. The next heat is going to have 3 kids in it. Josh Cobian, a 13-year-old Hunter Ridding, and in lane 5, so I'm sorry, Josh is in 3, Hunter's in 4, and Chloe Johnson is in lane number 5. We have 2 heats of the 400 IM. After the second heat, there's going to be a 10-minute break before the 200-yard breaststroke. That is event number 3. Right now, we are on event number 2, the 400 IM. That's 100 of each stroke: butterfly, back, breast, and freestyle. The winter national cut for this for December for the boys is 4:10.09. So we got a couple of guys in that final heat that are close. For the girls, it is 4:33.49. So we've got a couple of kids. Megan Hutchins is already under that. She'll be in heat number 2 along with Matthew Mortensen and Evan Kinseth. Both are close to that national winter cut as well. But before we get to that, we need to get to heat number 1. Again, Josh in 3, Hunter in 4, and Chloe in 5. Now 500 free, last heat. We've got a nice race, Bren from Daddy Worth, Brian. Again, 100 fly, 100 back, 100 breast, 100 freestyle. The lead starting out. We got Josh in lane number 3. He's going to turn first at the 50. Hunter close behind. And Chloe right behind him. And at the 100 fly, going into the 100 backstroke, Josh is turned first, followed by Hunter, followed closely behind by Chloe. 400 AM is always fun to watch. You get to see what kids' strong strokes are and what kids' weak strokes are. 400 AM is hard to hide from when you've got a weak stroke. So Hunter has made up some time here at the backstroke to breaststroke. He's caught up with Josh a little bit. Josh is a good flyer and a very good breaststroker. You see him pull away a little bit here. And Chloe making her turn now into the breaststroke leg. And Josh has opened up his lead. A couple of body lengths now. Josh entered at a 5:42.21. Hunter entered at a 4:59.71. And Chloe entered at a 5:11.95. All right, Josh has opened up his lead by quite a bit, turning from breaststroke to freestyle. 4 lengths left. As Hunter has now turned into his final 100. Again, Josh entered at 5:42. He's going to drop quite a bit of time. Not sure when the last time he swam this was. All right, 50 left for Josh. Hunter going to make his turn right now for the final 50. And Chloe making her final turn with 2 lengths left. Josh is going to drop almost a minute from his seed time at 4:44.97, 58 seconds. Hunter touches at 4:52.67, so he drops a full 7 seconds. And Chloe's got about 12.5 yards left. She's going to add a little bit of time, but not too much. It's a good swim by all 3. And a 5:15.27. All right, that does it for heat number 1. Again, after heat number 2, we are going to have a 10-minute break. Amy likes to play music. Sometimes YouTube will have problems with that, so if she does play her music loud and proud, I will have to go mute, but please know that we have not left you. Felicia says, go Chloe. And she did. She had a nice little swim. Up next is heat number 2 of the 400 IM. In lane number 1 is Emily Booth. Lane 2, Charlie Steffen. Lane number 3, Megan Hutchins. Lane 4, Matthew Mortensen. Lane 5, Evan Kinseth. Lane 6, Sullivan Labno. Lane 7, Ella Passe. And in lane 8, Claire Kinseth. So we have a brother-sister combo here. My 2 kids in the final heat. And their 50 cool down is all done. So the other group will start to filter in here in just a moment. Event number 3 after the 10-minute break is going to be the 200-yard breaststroke, followed by the 200 backstroke, followed by the 200 fly before our next break. So we'll have another break before event number 6, which is the 50-yard freestyle. Going to give these kids a little bit of a rest since there's not a lot of time between events.
Lane 2 is Charlie. Lane 3, Megan. Lane 4, Matthew. Lane 5, Evan. Lane 6, Sullivan. Lane 7, Ella.
So in lanes 4 and 5, your two fastest swimmers on the men's side, 4:13.33 is Matthew, Evan at 4:15.44. Megan is going to give them a run. Megan is a very good swimmer. She's in at 4:16.93. Again, she's already under that cut, so I assume she'll be swimming that at the Winter Championships. Evan and Matthew are looking to make that cut for the men at 4:10.09. And they are off. Three, 4, and 5 all touched pretty much at the same time. Matthews pulled out to a little bit of a lead in front of Evan and Megan. Sullivan is hanging right there with them as well. Emily Booth down there in lane 1. My daughter Claire up in lane 8. And Matthew's got about a half a body length on Evan at this point, who has about a body length on Megan. And they're both going to touch under a minute for that 100. Let's see how this backstroke goes. Matthew's a very good backstroker. Evan is a good backstroker as well, and Megan Hutchins is a very good backstroker. Miss Booth in lane 1 entered at a 4:55.05. That's her seed time. Claire out there in lane number 8 entered at 4:58.91. Ella in lane 7 entered at 4:48. Evan and Matthew have made the turn at the 50 backstroke, and Evan has made up quite a bit of time on him here and has pulled ahead. Being his dad, I know his weak stroke is breaststroke, so we're going to see how that goes. Claire and Emily Booth are hanging tough. Emily's lost her goggles, unfortunately. That is tough in a long race. That is not fun for anyone, especially the swimmer. Evan's going to make the touch going from the 100 backstroke into the 100 breaststroke. Miss Hutchins making her turn right now. Sullivan making his turn out in lane number 6. Ella making her turn in 7. And in lane 2, Charlie making his turn. Well, Matthew has pulled ahead of Evan just a little bit in the first leg of the breaststroke. Claire just makes her turn out in lane 8 along with Emily in lane 1. And Matthew has opened up about a body length on Evan. Evan is a freestyler, though, and so he will make up some time probably in that 100 freestyle. Megan makes her turn. Sullivan and Charlie both make their turns. Ella is coming in on her turn from the breaststroke, the first 50 of the breaststroke. So we got Matthew still in the lead. Evan is held pretty tight here. He's got about a body length and a half to make up if he's gonna take bragging rights here. These two fish a lot together. They're good friends. So there'll be some elbowing going on and some good ribbing and fun. So, all right, Megan makes her turn. Charlie and Sullivan make their turns into the 100 freestyle. And here comes Evan. So within a 50, he has made up that entire body length and a half. And it is going to be a race to the finish here. Both make their turns at the same time. Evan pulls to about a half a body length off the turn. Claire makes her turn into the 100 freestyle. Well, neither of those two in the front there are going to make that cut, but that's okay. They'll be close. And Evan is going to take the win on this one in lane 5 with a 4:15.17. We actually dropped a little bit of time from the last time he swam that. Matthew at a 4:18.68. Claire makes her final turn. Sullivan finishes up with a 4:29.15. Megan touches at a 4:32.92. Charlie at 4:36.68. Emily Booth making her final turn. Ella coming in. Ella is entered at a 4:48.10, and she is going to touch at a 4:46.01, so she drops a couple of seconds. We got to go Chuck Steffen. Have fun. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nurse Steffen, Nurse Dana. And there's Claire touching at 4:58.05, so she drops almost a second in her 400 IM from MRC's last year. And Miss Emily Booth is finishing up here at a 5:13.20. And this is where we're taking our 10-minute break. So when the music starts to play, I will probably go on mute, but we will be back in about 10 minutes. Oh, Amy's getting ready, so I'm going to go on mute here, and we will be back with you in about 10 minutes. All right, we are back. We got the kids lined up for the 200-yard breaststroke. Amy has turned off Bohemian Rhapsody, so we can be back on the back on live here with you again.
All right, coming back behind the block is event number 3.
So lane number 2 is Sydney Sadlick. Lane 3 is Mary Roth. Lane 4, Cassidy Taylor. Lane 5, Jovan Lengseth. Lane 6, Emily Snyder. All these kids have no times, which means, more than likely, they've never swam it before. So first timers, all of them. All right, and off they go. And we've got, looks like Jovan out there in lane number 5. He's going to make the first turn. Looking very strong, nice and smooth. Make the turn at his first 50. The rest of the pack is together, battling for that second place spot. Next to turn, down in lane number 2 is Sydney. Again, for official times, please check Meet Mobile. Those times are being updated as we speak. It looks like the final heat of the 400 IM was just updated. So you should be able to find those official times. Jovan's still long and strong. He's finished his first 100, turning into his second 100. Three heats of this before we move on to the 200 backstroke. Sydney's making her turn here, followed by Cassidy and Mary. And Emily makes her final turn for 100 left. Jovan's got a 50 left at this turn. Still nice and long, nice and strong. Makes his turn. 2 lengths left. Sydney into her final 50. Cassidy making her final turn. Jovan finishing up right now with a 2:44.70. It's a very nice time for the first shot at this. Very good time. And out in lane 6, Emily makes her final turn for 50 left. Sydney is going to finish second, followed by Cassidy out in 4, Mary in 3, Sydney with a 3:28.79, Cassidy 3:36.86, Mary Roth down in 3 is going to be 3:42.97. And not far behind them comes Miss Emily Snyder. At a 3:55.36. They're going to go on their easy 50, and we're going to move on to heat number 2. Lined up against the windows, I don't see lane 1 and lane 8, so it looks like Robbie Megan in lane 1 will not be joining us today. In lane 2 is Claudia Walker. Lane 3 is Ben Edwards. Lane 4, Riley LeBon. Lane 5, Molly Vogan. She had a great 500 freestyle earlier this morning, or earlier this evening. This morning. It's been a long day. In lane 6, Victoria Smith. Lane 7, Tara Lee. And lane 8 is also missing. That is Lindsay Mello. So lanes 1 and lane 8 will be empty for the next heat. All right, as heat number 1 moves away from the blocks to go talk to their coaches. We'll spray everything down, and we will move heat number 2 in.
Lane 2 is Claudia. Lane 3, Ben. Lane 4 is Riley. Lane 5, Molly. Lane 6, Victoria. And lane 7, Tara. Heat number 2.
And they are off. Out in lane 4, Riley has the early lead. Molly close behind, and lane 7 out there is Tara Lee making a turn about the same time as Molly. Claudia Walker hanging tough with the front part of that group. Riley's got a bit of a comfortable lead, about a body length and a half at this point. The rest of the group is pretty tied up. They're all going to turn pretty close at the same time. Victoria Smith making her turn into the second 50 of the 200 breaststroke. Riley, seed time, 3:00.68. Riley swims on the senior 1 group. Molly swims on the junior select group with Amy Corrado. Oh, watch out for lane number 2. Claudia Walker is hanging tough and making up some room on Riley here. And don't count out lane number 7. You got Tara out there on outside smoke. Turning at about the same time as Ben Edwards down there in lane number 3. Victoria makes her turn with 100 left. Oh, looks like our third and final heat will be a full heat. Lined up against the windows. All right, Riley's got himself a comfortable lead. He's going to make his final turn with 50 left. Claudia turning right now. Tara making her final turn. Ben making his. Molly making hers. And Victoria now making her final turn. Again, Riley entered. Seed time, 3:00.68. Molly at 3:01.05.
Riley's going to drop some time here. It's pretty strong at 2:45 right now. So he's going to drop about 10 seconds. Very nicely done. 2:50.46, drops about 10. Claudia's coming in. Her seed time is 3:06.37. She's going to go 2:58.49. Tara Lee out there in lane 7, 3:01.69. Down from 3:07.61. Molly in lane 5 at a 3:05.84, so she adds a little bit. Victoria Smith, our final touch, at 3:12.89. Ben Edwards in lane 3 at a 3:02.91, so he adds about 0.2 of a second. We're going to go on their 50 cool down here, and we're going to move on to heat number 3. In lane number 1, we're going to have Caroline Mulrooney. Lane 2, Aiden Smith, brother to lane 6's Victoria Smith, out there right now. Lane 3 is Rachel Hutchins. Lane 4, Matthew Mortensen. Lane 5, Quinlan Schrader. Lane 6, Tate Dial. Lane 7, Amelia Labno. And in lane 8, Emily Booth. Heat number 3 scheduled to start at 5:10 p.m. and it looks like we are right on time. These kids will exit the pool, throw their masks on, and they will be off to see their coaches. Got about 25 people on the live stream now. Make sure you subscribe if you aren't already and hit the little bell to be notified. That way, if you forget and I start up the live stream, it will notify you.
Lane 5 is Quinlan. Lane 6, Tate. Lane 7, Amelia. And lane 8, Emily. Number 3.
After this, we will move to event number 4, the mixed 200-yard backstroke. So the 200 backstroke is up next. Matthew out to the early lead. Quinlan right there with him. And Matthew coming into the 100 has a couple body length lead on Quinlan. Matthew is 15, Quinlan 14. We got 4 youngsters in here. We got 4 13-year-olds, Caroline, Aiden, Tate, and Amelia. And everybody is now on their final 100 of this 200-yard breaststroke. And Matthew's got a pretty commanding lead here. First place, he makes the final turn into his last 50. Quinlan now making his final turn. Third place spot is pretty tight right now, but Rachel is leading the pack in lane number 3 with Caroline and Aiden close behind her. It's going to come down to this final 50 for that third spot, I think. Amelia and Tate make their final turn. Emily makes hers. Matthew is now coming in on his final few yards. Passes through the flags. Matthew entered at a 2:13.09, and he'll touch at a 2:18.23. Quinlan entered at a 2:23.91, and he's going to be 2:26.57. And you check out lanes 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom of your screen, and they are fighting for it. I think Caroline's got a little bit of a lead, but here comes Aiden. But I think, yep, Caroline gets the touch in lane 1 at 2:43.40. A nice big drop for her. Lane 2, Aiden, 2:43.62. Rachel in 3 at 2:44.24. Tate out in lane 6 at 2:47.20. Amelia in 7 at 2:46.27. Nice drop for her as well. And in lane number 8, Miss Emily Booth with a 2:52.42. Drops about a little over 4 seconds. So good heat all the way around. All right, up next, event number 4, the mixed 200-yard backstroke. Looks like we've got all 5 of our swimmers. We've got Kaylin Worth in lane number 2, Leah Hadsel in 3, Mason Pade in 4, Samantha Booth in 5, and Trent Kasulke in 6. All no times. So first-time swimmers in this one. Never know exactly what to expect. I know I keep mentioning the winter champ cuts. We don't really have a state meet or MRCs or MACs right now. I think I'm hoping those are going to come in March, late February and March again, but who actually knows? So for the 200 backstroke, we're just going to go through this anyway with the winter champs. 200 backstroke for men, 153.99 for that short course cut. And for the women, 206.29 for that short course cut for the ladies. So on that 206.29, you've already got Miss Megan Hutchins and Ella Passe under that. So that is something they will possibly be swimming coming up in the middle, first couple weeks of December this year. That'll be at the University of Minnesota. All right, at the first turn, way out there in lane 6 is Trent Kasulke. He's got an early lead. Followed closely behind in lane 3 is Leah Hadsel. Kaylin the Peach Worth in lane 2, and then lane 4, Mason Pade, both turning about the same time. And making her first turn in 5 is Samantha Booth. Trent making the turn at the 100 right now at a split of 38.10. Lane number 3 making her turn into the second 100 is Leah. Peach down there in lane 2 makes her turn. And we got a battle in 4 and 5 right now between Mason and Samantha. And Trent makes his final turn. Leah is now making her final turn. A 50 left for both of them. 2 more lengths of the backstroke. Kaylin making her turn. All of them are no longer first-time 200 backstrokers. It's a rite of passage, Mom and Dad. It's a rite of passage. And our last 2 making their turns in 4 and 5, Mason and Samantha. Trent finishing up his event right here. Out there in lane 6 at 2:28.96. And Leah touching at 2:38.19. Kaylin Worth, 2:45.25. And finishing up, Samantha's making a run here at the last 50. Picked up her kick, picked up her arms. And she's going to touch right about that 3:06 mark. 3:06.32. And in lane 4, Mason with a 3:10.50. Now they all have something to build off of, so they will officially be in the books with USA Swimming, and now they can look to drop more time. All right, moving on to heat number 2. As I look at it here, I think we got almost a full heat. We got lane 1 is Aiden Seimer. Lane 2, Grace Martin. Lane 3, Ellie Franchik. Lane 4, Chloe Johnson. Lane 5, Nico Valiente. Lane 6 is Lydia Harum. Lane 7 is Molly Pitson, who I think is missing. And lane 8 is Emma Patterson. Emma is actually a first-timer at this event as well. She's got a no time. So we'll have another first-time swim for a Riptide swimmer. We have 4 heats of this event. This is heat number 2. Event number 5, the next event, is the 200-yard butterfly, a favorite of all swimmers. That's why there's only 1 heat with only 6 kids. But, be that as may, it is still a 200 butterfly. After that, before event number 6, we'll take another 10-minute break, and then we will proceed with the 50 freestyle after that.
Lane 4, Chloe. Lane 5 is Nico. Lane 6, Lydia. And lane 8 is Emma.
Yep, so we are missing lane number 7. So lane number 7 will be empty.
Heat number 2.
And into the water they go. Again, everybody here has swam this event at least once before, except for Miss Patterson out there in lane number 8. We'll see how she does. Out to the early lead at the first 25 is Chloe. She's going to make her turn. Followed by Nico in 5. And Ellie in 3. Chloe holding fast at about a half a body length in front of Nico. Nico and Ellie are going to turn about the same time. Emma out there in lane number 8 is holding strong. Aiden as well in lane number 1. Coming into the first 100, Chloe has still got about a body length, maybe a little bit less. Looks like Nico's right at about her knees. And we've got Ellie in 3. She's going to make the turn for third place right now. And then 6 and 8, Lydia and Emma are head-to-head. Aiden makes his turn. And Grace makes her final turn. So, not final turn. Final 100. Chloe's extended her lead a little bit here, a little over a body length now. Making her final turn. 50 left for her, for Nico, for Ellie. And out there in 6 and 8, Lydia and Emma still head-to-head. Aiden makes his final turn, and in lane 2, Grace making hers. Everybody's on their final lap right now. Out in lane 8, Emma has pulled ahead a little bit of Lydia. Both 13-year-olds. Grace and Ellie are 13-year-olds as well. The rest of them are 16. And Chloe touches in at 2:32.24. So about a second and a half off of her best time. Emma's first swim in lane 8 at 2:40.82. A very nice swim for a first time. And Grace touching now in lane 2 at a 2:53.13. Aiden, who came in seated at 3:05.54, drops to a 2:43.93. Grace again she added a couple of seconds from 2:51 to 2:53. Ellie in lane number 3 from a 2:42 to a 2:37. In lane number 5, Nico comes in at 2:33.55 and finishes with a 2:36.15. Lane number 6, Lydia. Seed time 2:45, and she seeds at 2:45, or she finishes this one up at 2:42, so she dropped about 3 seconds. And again, Emma out in lane number 8, her first time swim at 2:40.82. Heat number 3 is up next. It looks like we've got everybody except lane number 8, maybe. Leah Cayley, who I thought was here earlier, but she does not look to be in this heat. But we will confirm momentarily. So what I've got is Brennan Worth in lane number 1, Stella Bouchard in 2, Hunter Ridding in 3, Josh Cobian in 4, Catherine Bonneville in 5, my daughter Claire Kinseth in 6, Abby Nan in 7, and in lane 8 is Leah Cayley.
Lane 4 is Josh. Lane 5, Catherine. Lane 6 is Claire. Lane 7, Abby. And lane 8, Leah Cayley.
Yep, looks like lane 8 will be empty, unless she rushes in here at the last second.
Heat number 3.
Lanes 5 and 6, Claire and Catherine have grown up together. Catherine is a few months older, but they have been extremely good and best friends for a very long time. And looks like Claire and Catherine, and in lane 3, Hunter making the turn about the same time. Lane 1, Brennan has got a slight lead over the group. And actually, Catherine is a little bit ahead of him here. We've got a Let's Go Brennan. Yep, Brennan's in lane 1. Looking strong. Catherine's going to make her turn right now. She and Brennan are tied at the 75. Claire is third. Hunter in lane 3 making a bit of a move here. Lane 4 is Josh. And at the 100, Catherine is a little bit in the lead over Brennan. Catherine holding tight to that little bit of a lead she's got over Brennan. They're going to flip at about the same time. Hunter and then Claire, followed by Josh and Stella. Catherine coming in seated at 2:18.62. Claire coming in 2:22.55. Brennan 2:26 flat. Hunter's seed time 2:18.80. Stella's seed time 2:24.21, and Josh at 2:16.13. And as they turn to come home, it is still Catherine. Oh, Catherine's in second. Looks like Brennan's taken over a little bit here. Claire's making a move on the outside. And it will be Brennan at 2:15.96, so he drops 4/100ths of a second. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Make that, he drops about 8 seconds. Never mind. Don't pay any attention to me. Out in lane 2, Stella at 2:21.27. Lane 3, Hunter, 2:18.52. Lane 4, Josh at 2:21.38. Lane 5 is Catherine at 2:17.47, so she drops a little over a second. Claire, who came in at 2:22.55, drops about 4 at 2:18.32. And Miss Abby Nan, who entered at 2:25.05, finishes this race at 2:30.95. All right, we are moving on to heat number 4. And it looks like we've got a full heat. We've got Addison Pavick in lane 1, Matthew Warwig in 2, Charlie Steffen in 3, Megan Hutchins in 4, Ella Passe in 5, my son Evan Kinseth in 6. Catherine's big sister, Elizabeth Bonneville, in lane 7. And out in lane 8 is Anna Olson. Megan Hutchins is the top seed time here at 2:50. We've got Allison Warwick tuning in again from Australia to cheer on Matthew Warwick. That's a long way away, and I have no idea what time it is. Maybe she can tell me. I think it's probably tomorrow, maybe tomorrow morning. But thank you for joining us. I'm sure he will appreciate that.
Lane 3 is Charlie. Lane 4, Megan. Lane 5 is Ella. Lane 6, Evan. Lane 7, Elizabeth. And lane 8, Anna.
Again, for the ladies in the 200 backstroke, the cut is 2:06.29 for winter champs. For the men, it is 1:53.99. As Claire and Catherine are lifetime friends, Evan and Elizabeth are as well. All have grown up together. Elizabeth and Catherine's dad and I have been friends since 1984 when I moved here from California. And turning to the 25, Evan's got the slight lead over Megan. Looks like those two are pretty head-to-head right now. Lane 3, Chuck Steffen is right there with them as well, as is Matthew Warwick in lane number 2. Evan's got a slight lead still at the turn after the first 50. Evan entered at a 2:05.38. Matthew going to touch second here. He is entered at a 2:06.06 with Megan right behind and Charlie sitting out there in fourth right now. Evan and Matthew turning at about the same time, so Matthew's made up a little bit on Evan here. Coming into the 150 mark. They'll have a 50 left after this turn. Elizabeth out in lane number 7. She's entered at 2:06.96. Matthew and Evan dogfighting out there for first place here. They're both flipping over, turning at the same time again. It's all going to be up to this final 25 now. Out in lane 8, Anna Olson just made her final turn. She's got a 50 left. It looks like Matthew is going to take this one. He has got a slight edge, and he does. Out in lane 2, 2:02.84. Evan touching at a 2:03.15. So Evan drops a couple of seconds there. Matthew drops a nice 4 seconds, almost 4 seconds. Addison Pavick comes in at a 2:18.97. Out in lane number 3, Charlie Steffen at 2:08.65. Megan Hutchins in 4 at 2:07.82. Ella Passe in lane 5 at 2:14.05. Elizabeth out in 7 at 2:13.77, and Anna Olson at 2:29.11. Up next is our single heat of the 200-yard butterfly. They are lined up, the brave souls that they are, to swim the 200 butterfly. I only see 4 of them. Looks like we've got Aiden Smith in 2, Sullivan Labno in 3. Oh, yeah, Max and Brady, 4 and 5, are not here tonight. So we move on to lane number 6, which is Claudia Walker, and lane number 7, which is Quinlan Schrader. So we've got Aiden, Sullivan, Claudia, and Quinlan for the 200 fly, the brave souls of the 200 fly.
On deck for the 200 butterfly. Lane 2 is Aiden. Lane 3 is Sullivan. Lane 4 is Max. Lane 5 is Brady. Lane 6 Claudia. And lane 7 Quinlan. And number 5 next. 200-yard butterfly. Heat 1.
Again, after this heat, we will take another 10 minutes before we finish up the 50 free, and then event number 7 will be the 100 free. So we are almost done tonight. We got about 30 minutes left. I still have flashbacks. 40 years, 30 years after swimming this event. This was not my event. So I am always impressed by the kids who can swim this, swim it well, and I'm impressed by the kids who can finish it. So in lane number 3, we have Sullivan making the turn first, followed by lane number 7, Quinlan, Aiden in 2, and Claudia in 6. At the 100, Sullivan looking strong. He is going to touch at the 100 at 1:0, somewhere about 1:03. Got Quinlan and Aiden touching next, and then Claudia right behind them. Got sorry, I'm a little bit behind on my shout outs, but we had a Go Megan. That was from the 200 backstroke, the heat before. We got a woohoo from Allison Warwick. It is Saturday, 9:34 in the morning, so it's tomorrow in Australia right now. So they're in the future. Yes, great job, Matthew. He did. He had a really, really nice swim. Sullivan's going to finish up his 200 fly. He is entered at a 2:27.20, and he is going to drop a ton of time, 2:15.34. Very nice swim for him. We got more good job Megan's. Jenny asks if Megan dove in with her mask on again. Gosh, I hope she's never done that. And got Aiden touching at 2:36.63. There's no time for the rest of them, so these are first-time swimmers. Claudia at 2:38.83 and Quinlan at 2:39.19. They can wipe their brow. They've got the first one under their hat. So we are going to go to a 10-minute break again. I'm sure Amy's going to light up the music, so we will go quiet here in just a minute. Jenny says she swims at Riptide. She's got the meet tomorrow, the 100 free, the 50 free, and the 50 breast. Kiddo, you're going to be fine. I know you say you're not ready, but all right, we've got great coaches, and they will get you ready. They will get you pumped up. They will get you excited, and I'm sure you will do just fine. So with that, we are going to go for a break. Coming up next again, 50-yard freestyle. There's 3 heats of that, followed by the 100 free, where there are 4 heats. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thanks. All right, we're going to pick it back up again. Again with event number 6. This is the 50-yard freestyle.
And lane 7, Mason.
I only see, here they come filtering in. So we've got lane 1 is Jovan Langseth, lane 2, Emily Snyder, lane 3, Lydia Harum, lane 4, Leah Hadsel, lane 5, Kaylin the Peach Worth, lane 6, Samantha Booth, and in lane 7, Mason Pade.
And number 6, next 50-yard freestyle, heat 1.
And off they go. This is going to be a little faster than the other events we've seen today. It'll be over before you know it. Jovan out in lane 1 has got the lead at the turn. He is a 15-year-old here from Riptide. He is showing a no time, so I'm not sure what that's all about, but he's in at a 26.69. Possibly his first 50 freestyle, I'm not sure.
All right, great swim. Let's take an easy 50.
And they've done their 50. They're on their easy 50. See the times out in front of you. Emily Snyder with a 37.07. Lydia Harum, 30.82. She drops about a second and a half. Leah Hadsel out in lane 4 at 30.25. She adds just a little bit. Lane 5, 31.3. Kaylin Worth. So she drops almost a full second. Lane 6, 33.17. Samantha Booth. She adds just a little bit. And in lane 7 is Mason at 30.87. And he might not have swam that since he was 9 because he has entered at 50.01. So if he swam that last week, that was a pretty major drop. But I'm guessing it's been a little while since he swam that. 30.87. So he's got some new goals to shoot for. Awesome swim, Peach. Yes, it was. Very nice. Heat number 2 coming up. Lane number 1, we've got Ben Edwards. Lane number 2, Trent Kaselke. Lane 3, Tate Dial. Lane 4, Riley LeBon. Lane 5, Leah Cayley. Lane 6, Chloe Johnson. Lane 7 is Catherine Bonneville. And in lane number 8 is Tara Lee. And they will now filter up.
Coming on deck, lane 1 is Ben. Lane 2 is Trent. Lane 3, Tate. Lane 4 is Riley. Lane 6, Leah. Lane 6 is Chloe. Lane 7, Catherine. And lane 8, Tara.
So our top seed time here is 26.36 by lane 4, Riley LeBon.
Heat number 2.
Followed closely behind by Leah Cayley at 26.73. I'll tell you that for the girls, the junior national cut, or the winter championship cut, is 24.39. The boys is 21.69. And they are off. And off to start, Riley's got the early lead. He's going to make the first turn. And the only turn. Got a pretty good lead out over the rest of the group here. Again, Riley entered at 26.36. And he is going to touch a 25.64. Very, very nice swim. Ben Edwards, 28.27. He drops a little bit. Trent out in lane 2, 27.57. Drops about 3/4 of a second. Lane 3, Tate Dial, 26.99. She drops 3/10. Lane 4 again, Riley has a great swim at 25.64. Leah Cayley in 5, 28.49. She adds a little bit there. Chloe Johnson in 6 at 28.95. She adds just a little bit. Catherine Bonneville out in lane number 7, 29.33. She adds about 0.8 of a second. And lane 8, Tara Lee of Egan High School at 29:57, and she comes in at 30.32. So she adds about 0.8 of a second as well. Third and final heat coming up. We've got Rachel Hutchins in lane 1, Matthew Mortensen in 2, Megan Hutchins in 3, Grayson Marcotte in 4, Sullivan Labno in 5, Allison, here he comes again out in lane 6, Matthew Warwig, lane 7, Caroline Mulrooney, and lane 8, Nico Valiente. A Yahoo Go Matthew. Matthew is entered at a 25.19. Our top seed is Grayson at 23.95. Again, the Winter Championship cut for the men is 21.69. Jenny says, "You got this, Megan."
Lane 4 is Grayson. Lane 5, Sullivan. Lane 6, Matthew. Lane 7, Caroline. And lane 8, Nico.
Winter champ cut for the women, 24.39. Out in lane 4, Grayson's got the early lead. He's going to make the turn first and bolt for home. Out in lane 5, right behind him is Sullivan. Lane 2, look out, we've got Matthew Mortensen. And there they finish up. So Grayson wins it with a 23.84. He drops a little bit of time. Out in lane 1, Rachel Hutchins, 26.44. Matthew Mortensen, 24.68. He drops almost an entire second. Lane 3, big sister Megan Hutchins at a 25.96. Again, Grayson with that 23.84. Sullivan in lane 5 at 24.39. He adds 2/100ths of a second. That's faster than you can blink. Out in lane 6, Matthew Warwig with a 25.35. He adds about 15/100ths of a second. Caroline in lane 7 at 26.86, so she's up a little bit. And Nico out in lane 8 at 26.66. He adds about 6/10ths of a second. So that finishes up our 50 freestyle. We move on to event number 7. This is the 100-yard freestyle. And I show 5 kids in waiting and 7 kids on the roster for this one. So we're going to be missing a few. But in lane 1, I've got Mary Roth. Lane 2, I know Molly Pitson has not been here, so we'll scratch her. Lane 3, Lindsay Mello. Lane 4, Ellie Franchik. Lane 5, Cassidy Taylor. Lane 6, Sydney Sadlick. And in lane 7 is Grace Martin. Miss Allison, you are more than welcome. It was super fun to watch these kids and be able to bring it all to you. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, we are missing lanes 2 and 3, so Lindsay is not here. And lane 8 is empty. This is the 100-yard freestyle, 4 lengths of the pool. For this, the short course winter championship cut for the men, 46.99. For the women, 52.69. These are not the normal winter junior national cuts. Because of COVID, they split out the championship meet out to each individual state, from what I understand. And in order to get a few more kids into the meet, they slowed the times down just a little bit to about Speedo sectional cuts, somewhere in there. So I don't have the actual junior national cuts in front of me, but if you look at like the 500 freestyle for the men, the winter championship cut is 439.89. I believe it is 430 for the normal junior national cut. In lane 4, bringing it home is Ellie Franchik out in the lead, followed by Cassidy and Sydney. Ellie is going to touch at 1:07.08. She drops 0.4 of a second. Lane 6 is Sydney. She's going to touch at 1:09.92. So she drops about 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Cassidy in 5, 1:10.76. She adds a couple of tenths. Grace Martin out in lane 7 at 1:15.76, so she drops about 3 seconds. Mary Roth in lane 1 at 1:17.36, and she drops a couple of seconds down from 1:19.60. Up next is heat number 2. Looks like we got a kid missing over there, maybe lane 6. But in lane 1 is Ben Edwards. Lane 2, Emma Patterson. Lane 3, Aiden Smith. Lane 4, Addison Pavick. Lane 5 is Molly Vogan. I believe our missing person here in lane 6 is Robbie Megan. Lane 7, Victoria Smith. We have a brother-sister duo here between Aiden in lane 3 and Victoria in lane 7. And then we've got Aiden Seimer out in lane 8. This is heat number 2 of 4. We are right about on time. This one is scheduled to go at 6:01 p.m. and it is 6 p.m. right now. Well, still got 31 people on the stream. Thank you for hanging out through the final event of tonight. Make sure you tune back in tomorrow. We got 3 sessions tomorrow, the 11-12s, the 10 and unders, and then the older kids again, which they call the open, which will start at 4 o'clock.
Lane 7, Victoria. Lane 8, Aiden.
So Aiden Smith in lane 3 is entered at 1:04.37. His big sister is entered at 1:05.78 in lane 7. Who will be the victor? Who will have the bragging rights over the dinner table tonight? Yeah, looks like 4 and 5 are going to battle for that first turn. It's Addison and Molly. Addison's got a little bit of a lead, maybe shoulders. That's about it. But Addison is going to make the turn in lane 4 first, followed closely by Molly Vogan. Aiden Smith in 3 has a little bit of a lead over his sister out there in lane number 7. Addison still has the slight lead over Molly. Looks like Aiden's going to have the bragging rights tonight. And Addison's going to win this heat. Addison is entered at a 1:02.51, and she's going to drop some time at a 1:61. Molly Vogan at a 1:02.04, down from a 1:02.55. So there's 2 good drops right there. Ben Edwards in 1, 1:04.31, a second and a half drop. Emma Patterson in 2, 1:03.55, down from a 1:05.64. She drops 2 seconds. Aiden Smith in 3 at a 1:03.45. He drops almost a second. Again, Addison and Molly, we went through. Robbie's not here. We got lane 7, which is big sister Victoria with a 1:06.81. She adds a little bit. And in lane 8 with a 1:08.32 is Aiden Seimer, and he adds just over a second. So good swims. Moving on to heat number 3 of 4. Lane number 1 is Anna Olson. Lane number 2 will be Stella Bouchard. Lane 3, Amelia Labno. Lane 4, Emily Booth. Lane 5, Hunter Ridding. Lane 6, Claudia Walker. Lane 7, Abby Nan, and in lane 8 is Claire Kinsev. Top seed here is Emily Booth at 57.46, followed closely behind by Hunter Ridding, 13-year-old, 58.49. They are off from this heat number 3 of 4. Looks like our first to turn is probably 2 and 5. So we've got Stella out there in 2, Hunter in 5. Got a little bit outside smoke. Claire is sitting out there in lane 8. She's holding tight with the lead pack. Hunter turns first, followed closely by Stella and Claire. Great turn out of lane number 6. That is Claudia Walker. She makes up some space on the group. Hunter's still in the lead here. Followed closely by Stella and Claire. Emily Booth is there with them. Claudia Walker hanging tough. Hunter is going to take this with a 57.08. So as it goes down, we've got Anna Olsen at 1:01.56. A little bit of an ad. Stella in 2 at 58.19. She drops a full 2 seconds. Got Amelia in 3 at 59.95. So she adds about 9/100ths of a second. Emily Booth in 4 at 59.70. Hunter has a very nice swim at 57.08. Drops about a second and a half. Claudia in lane 6 at 59.51, so she drops about a half a second. Abby Nan in 7, 102.96, adds a little bit there, not a whole lot. And Claire at 59.38, down from a 101.17. So very nice drops all across the board. Very good swims. Really a great swim for Stella. Holy cow. I mean, 58.19 down from a 1 minute, 0.56. That is a big drop for 100 freestyle, and probably maybe the first time under a minute. I think the coaches most of the time try to get their best times in here, so I'm going to go with that 1 minute, 0.56 was the best time. And now it has been shattered. 58.19 for Stella. Very good. Very, very nice swim.
All right, coming into the final heat of the night. Lane 1 is Charlie. Lane 2, Josh.
We move on to our final heat. This is heat number 4 of the 100 freestyle. Lane 1 is Charlie Steffen. Lane 2, Josh Colby. And lane 3, Elizabeth Bonneville. Lane 4, Max Castle and Brady Chisholm. 4 and 5 will be empty. Lane number 6 is Ella Passe. Lane 7 is Brennan Worth. And in lane 8 is Quinlan Schrader. They are off on our final heat of the evening. Now, lanes 1, 2, and 3 pretty much dead even at the first 25. That's Charlie, Josh, and Elizabeth. Looks like Charlie and Elizabeth make the turn first. Ella Passe is right there with them. Charlie's making a push. He makes the turn at the 75 first. Elizabeth and Josh pretty tight together here. Ella Passe close to them. Followed by Brennan and Quinlan out in 7 and 8. So Charlie's going to win the heat, followed by Elizabeth in 2. So Charlie at a 54.29. He drops a little bit of time. Josh Cobian at 55.48. Elizabeth 55.21. Ella at 55.73. Brennan Worth 57.91. And Quinlan in lane 8 at 58.05. That concludes tonight's open session for the Riptide Return to Racing on November 6th. Join us again tomorrow if you're only interested in watching the open session again. That will start up at 4 o'clock. Otherwise, I believe the 11-12s kick it off tomorrow morning. Check the Riptide site. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think the 11-12s kick it off tomorrow morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and we will be live streaming that as well. We'll live stream all 3 sessions tomorrow, and I look forward to speaking with you and calling the meet again. Have a great evening. Take care, and we'll talk to you then. Thanks.